What can you tell me about Freddie Dredd?
Oh my god.
I didn't think it would get that immediate of a reaction. Wow, okay.
My aunt
Is Freddie Dredd?
Yeah, exactly.
First off, what would you do during the purge?
Fuck. Probably just ball out.
Oh, I thought that was your answer.
I mean, I would hope so.
Okay.
Right? I hope the game is not society inherent. I hope that I could still pull even if it was collapsing.
What does that entail during the purge? Does that entail like bank robbery or like?
I think just find a ball pit.
That might be kind of dangerous though. I feel like all the serial killers would go to like the ball pit to like chill though.
Yeah, exactly. All the serial killers would go there.
And next, something not everyone might know about you is that you do all of your own cover art, correct?
Most of it. The only pieces that I haven't done myself are the Weightless cover and the And I'm Gone cover. The Chaser cover, like the EP cover, that was also done by a different artist, but all of the other covers were done by me, yeah.
Awesome, gotcha. So considering that like you like are both working in like the music itself and also like the visual side of things, I'm wondering, are there any sort of like avenues of creative expression? Like maybe I saw that you did like 3D modeling a long time back.
Yeah.
Like, are there any sort of things like that you've wanted to dive into but maybe haven't had the opportunity to?
If I had a bunch of time to just dedicate to something, it would be fun to make just like a very small 20-minute game that is like very vibrant and I put a lot of detail and effort into. Just to make like a bunch of very cool visual moments. But right now, I don't have the time for that.
Gotcha, I can imagine.
Also,
yeah.
I don't know shit.
Yeah, game design's one of those things that you really got to like kind of throw away like a month to like really get into.
Oh, a month. Yeah, I would be throwing away like several years at least. I don't have the facilities.
And I mean that leads well into my next question. A while back you tweeted that you want to create music for a game someday. So I'm wondering to any potential developers out there that maybe have thrown away those years already, what does like a hypothetical perfect game that your music is scored in like look like?
If they're ever working on like a Bomb Rush Cyberpunk 2,
Ooh,
I would die for that. Or like if they made another like PlayStation All-Stars.
PlayStation also, you played that as a kid?
I love that.
Oh, I fucking love that shit too. Who did you main?
I think Sackboy.
Next, lately I've seen a lot of my musician friends have like the combating desires of wanting to like just fuck around and like make art for like the sake of making it, but also wanting to be taken like capital S seriously as a musician. So I'm considering, I feel like both you and the Bejalvin boys over here are really good examples of musicians that make really compelling music without taking themselves super seriously. I'm wondering, like, have you ever struggled to balance those two sides of the coin?
For me, it's really never been that much of an issue just because like when I started making stuff, I really had no audience in mind. It was really just like me and like my buddy just trying to have as much fun as possible making like dumb tracks. And I feel like out of that, I was able to have a lot of people engage with it in like a way that they felt very compelled by it. I've never tried yet to make anything that I've had the intention of someone being like, this is really serious and emotional and I'm gonna like contemplate this heavily. I like sort of like a Sophie mindset where it's just more about energy and like honesty is like very important, but also just trying to make the most vibrant and fun sounding thing possible is also just as like valid and exciting of an avenue to go down.
Next, have you ever gone on the Wayback Machine and looked at your Spotify page?
I haven't actually. When I was like a kid, I used to be really into those like passive number like phone games, like the idle games.
Right.
But basically now I just use like the Spotify shit as that just because like I can just watch a number go up.
Hell yeah. It's like cookie clicker a little bit.
Basically, yeah. 6 months ago, I would go fucking crazy and see like 50 concurrent listeners and I would like just screenshot it 5 times and scream. So I can go back and look at those, but I've never gone back on the Way Machine and looked at it.
Selling Femtanyl like 5,000 monthly listeners.
Exactly.
Screenshot hit me up. Yeah. I was going to say it's really, really funny. If you ever go back and look at it, the two oldest like captures of it, you gain 100,000 monthly listeners between the two. So I'm wondering, like, considering that you've like accomplished a lot in a really short amount of time, I'm wondering, have there ever been sort of like any growing pains adjusting to this new size?
Oh yeah, I mean it's been like very overwhelming sometimes. I think just like the one growing pain, even though like when I was started making music, it was really just for myself to have a lot of fun with it.
Right.
But then after like a little bit, you get people tracking and analyzing your releases, being like, oh, this is the next one where they fall off, and like that kind of shit. Online, everybody's just like a music executive now,
like the A&Rification of like the underground music. Yeah.
And so I think like the biggest like growing pain was just like adjusting to an audience reaction. You don't want to really look at it, but it's very hard. If someone's saying something about you online, it's like a natural reaction to want to fucking seek it out and look at it.
And on the topic, we're filming this the day of the Bejalvin versus Femtanyl show in beautiful Chicago. So I'm wondering, how are you feeling going into it? Are you excited?
I'm very excited. Beautiful roster. I'm going to kick the shit out of these boys.
I was going to say the show is called Femtanyl versus Bejalvin. Who's winning? You're pretty confident that's gonna be y'all?
We're gonna kick your ass.
I'm going to wipe the fucking floor with you, motherfuckers.
I've only ever seen videos of your performances. I haven't seen you live before. Y'all are a force to be reckoned with. I don't know.
We're gonna shake the lunch money out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Give you wet willies, swirlies, stuff you in the fuck.
Y'all are just describing bullying. Like this isn't.
I'm gonna be stepping on your feet.
Yeah. We're not playing music.
I'm gonna be making live blogs and taking photos of you after school.
Have you ever seen like bum fights? Like it's gonna be like
street beefs.
I'm gonna
like,
start
sorta.
tattooing shit on your forehead while you're asleep.
And on the topic, back when I interviewed Underscores, I went around at her show the night prior and asked a bunch of questions to the crowd and then had her guess like what they said.
Oh yeah?
So considering your show is tonight, I thought it'd be fun to flip that script and have you guess what your fans will say when I go around tonight and ask these questions to the crowd.
Oh fuck.
Favorite Source Engine game?
I played a lot of Alex during the pandemic. Source 2 technically.
Source 2, yeah, okay.
In terms of like the original Gmod's just the
Gmod, yeah, Gmod's probably, I would expect that would be the most common answer. I feel like there's going to be some like TF2 heads in the crowd.
Yeah, I was always just fucking terrible at shooters.
Yeah, no, I've tried getting into TF2 so many times, and every time I just get like sniped from across the map, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. Favorite monstercat song?
Monstercat song. There was this one that I would play in Beat Saber a lot, but I genuinely could not remember.
Yeah, just so do you play VR games like frequently, or?
I got like a fucking set for Christmas when I was like 18, like just one of the, like the Oculus ones, and I just had like nothing else to do because it was like I was in high school during the pandemic.
Favorite Pokemon?
I like Chandelure.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I like Chandelure.
I'm thinking also we have like some Lucario soldiers in the crowd tonight. Y'all, your fans probably are some Lucario soldiers.
oh Eevee, like that was the whole theme of the last.
Right, Eevee, I can imagine.
I mean, yeah, but I like that funny lantern chandelier guy.
Favorite Adventure Time character?
When I was a kid, I had the first 2 seasons on my iPod, like with the spin wheel on it. It was basically just those back to back. So for those, probably just like Beamo or Jake.
Hell yeah. I can imagine we're going to get a lot of Jake fans in the crowd. I can also imagine the tides have kind of turned on like Bubblegum Princess recently. She used to be like a fan favorite, but then everybody was like, oh, she does like genocide and shit. Like she kind of sucks. Yeah. And then favorite creepypasta?
Are we talking like in terms of actual enjoyment or like ironic?
Thing is, creepypastas are one of those things where like some of them are still kind of bone-chillingly terrifying, and then other ones
Yeah.
like Squidward Suicide are like the funniest shit on earth.
I will like still fucking cry laughing like listening to the original just like Jeff the Killer.
Oh my god.
Shit. That shit is fucking hilarious. I have like a lot of nostalgia for that like Candle Cove one. It was like one of like the early like TV show ones. It was the one with like all those kids who were like, oh, do you remember this fucking TV show we used to watch with all those creepy little
It was
puppets?
like you were watching Static the whole time, sort of thing.
dude.
Yeah.
That guy I think went on to make like Local 58.
Crazy. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It's so funny seeing people that like started off making like bullshit like creepypastas or SCP or whatever go on to make like.
Yeah, I mean that's what I did. Like I think it was 2018, I made an analog horror series
Really?
when I was like 16.
Does that mean you were a little bit ahead of the curve then? No.
I think by a couple years.
It got me thinking like you've uniquely performed at quite a few shows considering your first one was what, like 7 months ago?
Yeah.
So considering how fast you've had to pick things up, I'm wondering what would you say are some of the biggest lessons you've learned like from performance to performance?
The biggest couple things that I've learned is really take care of yourself completely. You might be able to just like muscle through a couple shows just doing that, but it's really gonna fucking come back to like bite you. You know, your skin's gonna like become shit. Your body's gonna feel like shit. You're just gonna be having liquid come out of you. Pack all of your shit the night before. Bring throat coat tea. If you're just like throwing yourself out there and like putting your heart into this, the audience is gonna think it's really cool. But like if you're putting everything into it, it's not gonna give like everything back to you. You're still gonna like degrade you.
And it's funny you mentioned throat coat. Back on when I was on the Wonder World tour with like Aries and everyone, we ran out of throat coat. So it's a video of my friend pouring honey straight into Subi Club's throat. It was a really great video. And can we get the mic that's bashed the fuck in? Very glad that this is actually here in person. So, and a while back, you posted a picture of a mic that you bashed against your head really hard, which got me thinking, at every show you perform at, there's going to be at least a few people in the crowd it's going to be their first show ever. So I'm wondering, for the uninitiated, what would you say are some do's and don'ts of like show etiquette?
Usually if you're gonna yell something out, it's not gonna make me have a giggle. It's not gonna make me laugh and slap my belly. A lot of the people who come to my shows are more like neurodivergent people, and it's just like important to recognize that like people in the crowd are like your peers as well, but like us on stage are not like there as like a spectacle thing. So like just treat us with like a good amount of respect. Be cool. If it's a crowd with like a pit, be very careful about who's around you. Don't fucking go crowd killing.
Right.
Because people are going to try and hit you back and you're going to have a miserable time. If the person that you are excited to see is like second last, don't just leave after them.
Right, yeah.
Stay
yeah.
for everybody. Because I've had some some of the shows where like I've been like second last, and then everybody left after that, and I've just like felt really bad because a lot of like being a performer is like the boost from the crowd for like your like energy, and like obviously there's a lot of people who are just like able to go up in front of one people and do a show that would be worthy of like 100,000 people. Give like everybody the same amount of energy. Be there for everybody. All of us are backstage together. We're all in it together.
One fun thing is like maybe not heckling, but one fun thing is to be the person that yells first and goes like woo, and that gets everybody else yelling. Yeah. That's fun. That's a great way to like get people to like you. And then can you explain what's been going on with all the gummy sharks you've been getting?
Oh my fucking god. Okay. We were away at like a cabin with a bunch of friends. I just was thinking like, damn, I would like a gummy shark. So it's not like we could go out and just get gummy sharks. Right. So what we did was she just like ordered some of them off like Amazon or something. And then we just kept fucking getting them.
Like how frequently and how much?
Like we would get
2 pounds once a month.
2 fucking pounds?
Smallest amount you could order without it being like way too expensive for like 6 of them was £1, and it doubled the order, and then it subscribed me to it, and I've tried unsubscribing multiple times.
This is insane. So you just have how many pounds of gummy sharks?
Probably 15.
Yeah.
Or no, that's not how the math works.
We have like a chihuahua of gummy worms. We have unsubscribed from it twice, and we keep getting them.
I think you just don't have an entrepreneurial mindset.
I don't have that real muncher mindset.
What I think you need to do is I think you need to repackage them, brand them femtanyl gummy sharks, sell them at shows.
Something that I used to do that I should start doing again was I would take like PSP games and sign them and then just sell them at shows.
That's lit. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Sold like the Pirates of the Caribbean Lego PSP game.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And yeah, that first person who came up bought that. It's just the more gummy sharks you get against your consent, the more that you start to despise the idea of gummy sharks.
Right.
They're very nice candy, but then you eat more than 3 of them and you realize that they don't really have much flavor. It sticks in your gut and you feel like shit. And I eat like more than 5 of them.
Yeah, let alone 10, 15 fucking pounds of it, yeah.
I have like thrown up and it's been just gummy sharks. People are calling me weak on Twitter for not eating all these gummy sharks.
Have you ever thrown up a pound of gummy sharks?
Yeah, motherfucker. Have you?
I didn't think so.
Send me your videos of you doing that. Okay?
This one's a shot in the dark. What can you tell me about Freddie Dredd?
Oh my god.
I didn't think it would get that immediate of a reaction. Wow, okay.
So my my aunt
is Freddie Dredd.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, okay.
Like her daughter, who I'm pretty sure would still be my aunt. She's dating Freddie Dredd. I think in the past was.
Okay.
I've only met him once. It was just like at like a family gathering and he was working the bar.
Crazy. Freddie Dredd knows how to work a bar.
Yeah, he had a Gucci belt, black turtleneck. He was he was a very nice guy.
Femtanyl nepotism allegations, like, okay.
Exactly.
If you were to win the lottery and couldn't tell anyone, what would be the purchase that'd give it away?
The signs that there would be. I'm a very like living like just kind of simple person where like I never like really try and like go out and like dream of like crazy purchases. You would probably just see me lock down like a house, and then I would just probably buy a bunch of really stupid music equipment.
Okay, hell yeah.
I mean, in reality, you would just go on my computer and see a lot of very expensive VSTs.
Right, I can imagine. Yeah, and like purchased.
You would see me being a law-abiding boy.
Next, lately on Twitter, there's been a pretty big back and forth between the two camps of like, if you want to be successful as a new artist, you have to be doing like daily content and like making videos and shit like that. And then the other camp is like, name one artist that's had like an actual significant impact that was doing daily TikToks or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering like, what do you think are some of the pros and cons of that line between artist and content creator being like increasingly blurred nowadays?
You can develop both simultaneously, like equally rabid fan bases, but in entirely different areas. If you're doing the mysterious shit, you get like the aura Cardi boys fawning over every like tiny minute shit you do and like just building up this massive like image of you. But if you're just doing like the daily shit, then people just like get really into you personally and develop like that kind of weird one-on-one connection where they feel like they know a lot about you. I kind of just try and do like middle avenue where like I like having a personal life, but I'm also just fine doing fun stuff online.
And are there any lessons that you learned in the creation of Chaser that's maybe informed what you have coming next?
I really had no like notions of what I was doing going into it. I was really just creating the stuff that I thought the most was fun. For like what I'm doing in the future, it's basically taking a lot of that and just trying to expand what would be considered like one of my songs. Under like the last song I released, a lot of people are like, this doesn't sound like a femtanyl track, and that is like my 14th track out.
14th track out. The definition of what is like a femtanyl song is still being like written. Like that's like not something that's set in stone yet.
I don't think the project's even like a year old yet from the beginning.
It's not.
Yeah, it's still very new. I would much rather be able to make it to a thing where it's like I can release any kind of thing that I want, as long as it's hard, as long as it's good. People won't like turn their nose up, because I know this is like my job now. But it's also what I do for fun.
And considering how much music you have dropped in such a short time frame, I'm wondering, how do you look back on your earlier stuff, maybe dating back as like Pet or even like prior to the femtanyl alias?
There are some things that I can pick out that are like, yeah, this was like a fun idea, and I can like track a lot of the progress of like my production. But it's the kind of stuff where I don't really like thinking back on like the person I was back then, because I was just like very sad. Like I'm able to like go forward with all that context, but then just make stuff that I feel is more exciting and is more resonant with who I actually want to be.
Next, something I've always enjoyed is seeing you getting co-signed by the Crazy Ass Moments in Nu Metal History account. But that raises the point that nu metal is unfortunately one of those genres that is kind of dominated by like mostly older dudes that get really epic about like younger artists and like innovation in the space and whatnot. So I'm wondering, what would your elevator pitch be to someone who's like coming from that mindset of just like the older music was better sort of vibes?
I would just say start getting excited again. Not in the sense where it's like you're just like a cynical person now, but like start with the mentality that like there's more for me to learn about music. Even though there's things that I believe are things, I can have an open mind and still expand my horizons. Have like a bit more of like an open mind when it comes to this kind of stuff. Not in the sense where you gotta accept me as nu metal, but just more in the sense where like if somebody made a good argument for it, you could believe that.
And a while back you tweeted, "For the record, I ain't a furry, I just like drawing a little cat," to which our very own bejalvin replied quite bluntly, "Career suicide." But that does raise the point that even in just the time between us like being in middle school to now, it seems like the attitude towards furries has had like literally like a tectonic shift. What do you make of like how the landscape of not just like the furry community, but like landscape of like sub communities as a whole having like shifted so dramatically in like the past decade? Like, what do you make of that?
I have like a very soft spot for a lot of those kinds of communities, like the furry community and like the brony community. Just because like I would always watch like what would be considered as like cringe videos of people going to cons, being silly, and like people would come there with a microphone and kind of like make fun of them or something. But for me, I would always just see like all of the people sitting on like a circle on the floor together outside of like some con room. That just seems like a really nice vibe and community. I went to the first ever one that I've been to just because I have a friend who's really into it, Salve. Shoutouts. And it was like a nice vibe. It was like a kind of later after that I made the tweet, because I was there and I'm like, this is a nice like space, but I don't really feel like I am really about like this as like a thing that I'm going to like really want to come back to.
Anybody that's maybe on the fence about it, like if you're pro like third spaces, like that whole concept of just like places that aren't like bars for like people to like hang out and have a good time, I want to go to MFF because the raves look fucking lit. Like it looks like a ton of fun. And on the flip side of that coin, I'm wondering, what would your advice be to someone who's maybe struggling to find their footing, either in terms of creative expression or just in terms of like identity or whatnot in like their hometown?
In terms of like trying to find identity like creative expression wise, make things that are really just personally very exciting to you. Worry much less about like who you're making it for. If you make something that you really believe in, then there is a good chance that there will be other people that will come along and believe in it too. In terms of like hometown stuff, try your best to find like anything that you can do with other people around your age, and then if that doesn't work in any case, find a fucking cooler place that you'd want to be, because there's only so many times you can try. Because like I'm from Toronto, and like I have a couple of friends there, but I much prefer like the US. I find it a lot more like interesting to be in. You know, obviously don't have like healthcare and stuff.
Right, yeah.
But it's just a
America,
lot,
baby, woo! Yeah.
It's just a lot more like stimulating.
And no matter how many new artists you discover, it seems like there's always 100 more popping up whenever you turn your back. So I'm wondering if you could pick a handful of artists to put our listeners onto right now. Who'd you pick?
Lustic Puppy just released my favorite album of the year. They are fucking incredible. Zombie Sharks, that fucking album is so sick. And Hearse Thief, these fucking no names bejalvin.
Yeah.
They're pretty crazy.
These fucking dweebs over here.
My buddy Taki has died. He's gonna be releasing some stuff soon, and I'm very excited for him.
And then you've collaborated with quite a few people over the years, but I can wonder, or not years, I'm used to saying years, but it's been months for you. But I'm sure there's still plenty more you want to work with. So if you could pick a handful of like dream collaborators, who would they be?
Obviously like people like Machine Girls up there. But like
that would be crazy.
That is such like a long shot for me.
Yeah, is it? I don't know.
I mean, I haven't talked to Matt or Sean myself at all. That it would be crazy. Like I mentioned earlier, somebody like Lustic Puppy. I'm probably gonna do some stuff soon, and I would love to do some stuff with Tracy Breaks, and Sizzy would also be
Oh my
amazing.
gosh, yeah, that album's so goddamn fucking good.
Fucking, I've been listening to that all week. You fucking said that one thing that I really love, that listening to that album charged your phone.
Listening to that album charged your phone?
Yeah, that's a perfect way of describing it.
Yeah, it's like that drink you put your phone into and it charges it to 1,000%. Yeah. And then finally, what are you looking to accomplish this year? What can we expect from Femtanyl going forward?
I want to really like continue to like get better at live performing. I want to try and drop like a first album and like have like a really crazy thing with that. I think personally I just want to get better at doing this in terms of like what it like means for me. You know, I want to be able to like not get like over stressed out and stuff. I want to just be able to take it really nicely.
For sure. Okay. I think that wraps it up for us. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. Hell yeah. Let's try that again.
Yeah.
Let's go. Awesome.
Exactly what you want.